It's Miranda and Darrin here, and we're here from in the Gold Coast in Australia, and we're the pleasure of being joined by David Mahoney. David Mahoney is UK born but calls Spain home. David is a writer, a director, an actor, a gym enthusiast, a truth seeker, and a truth speaker. Two words that we're all starting to find as common everyday vocabulary because given the state of the world today, we're all waking up to, I guess, the huge deception of what we've been programmed to believe by mainstream media for, I guess, our entire lifetime. So it's an incredible time to be awakened because, as they say, the truth sets you free, and that's what we're all finding. We're just regular people who are questioning things, and I think that's the key, that we all start to question what doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
If it just doesn't feel right. Yeah, and welcome, Dave. It's lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We spoke the other day. It was a bit short because I lost the signal, and I realised my cigarette charger, the lighter charger in my car, wasn't working correctly, so I lost it after half an hour with Charlie. So I'm glad that we had a chance to get back together and finish some of the other things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm at your disposal. You fire the questions away, and I'll do the best to, well, let's see what happens.
I suppose that the first question, Dave, is the current climate that we're living in, specifically, I suppose, aimed at the USA, where the elections are going on. Can you give us a bit of an update as to where you see it at this stage and where you see it heading?
Well, right now, I mean, yeah, we've been watching this very closely because it's been a bizarre journey for Trump. What's happened now is because of the cheating that went on with the Dominion system and the voting system, he's uncovered it, but a lot of the big judges, they don't want to hear the cases because it's a seriously hot potato. Now, you've got to understand that a lot of these people have been indoctrinated. Their entire career, their entire lives have been blackmailed and manipulated by the deep state for taking bribes and doing what they deem fit and should be done. So for them all of a sudden to start being honest and upholding the law and the Constitution is a very difficult choice. So a lot of the judges haven't done it. But the plan in general is to expose all these people. So you got to imagine it's a bit like when you tell children don't play with matches, you're going to get burned. We as a general population need to see exactly how deep and how bad this corruption has gotten, how much they've been manipulating things. Yep. So the current situation in the States is all rolling out. Yesterday or the day before, as you know, they returned their votes from the college, the collective college votes. And there was actually, it's a bit of a silly system. It works very well, but they're supposed to be sealed. And obviously people know that what they're returning, what the votes are. But there was 3 of them that didn't vote for Biden. They said, no, we feel there's something wrong and we're going to put our votes in for Trump. So when they open these documents on the 6th of January, it's going to be very, very interesting. And yet again, people are going to be shocked at what they're going to be hearing. And the mainstream media are not really doing us any favors at all, as we know.
No.
But it's definitely going to, he's got 4 ways. I can send you a text message in format to show you the constitutional law of the states and how it works. So those votes that were passed by the college, they actually have no power. It's just a formality of a recommendation, because when it goes to the Senate and goes to the House, they can still overturn it. Ultimately, they have that power inside the Constitution of the states, which is very good, because when they put that whole thing together in when the revolution happened, the forethought to get this escape clause, this safety clause in their Constitution was very, very smart. The last time it happened was when Abraham Lincoln did it during the American Civil War. So it's unnerving for a lot of us that are striving to make this change for Trump to get back in and have another 4 years to finish what he started. Yeah. We're constantly being bombarded with media friends and family sending us clips and talking and laughing and giggling, saying, "Oh, you know,
I know.
Yeah. And to keep the hands up constantly to fighting all the time, it's exhausting. And you'll be fighting it on all different levels, from your immediate friends and family, from work colleagues, to random text messages like I get. And my line of defense is I'm pretty quiet, and I just smile and laugh really and say, you know what? It's not about winning the battle, it's about winning the war.
Is that the executive order that he brought in 2018? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this was for foreign interference. He deemed it foreign interference. So as the story rolled out, if you trace back where Dominion came from, it came from Venezuelan Chavez, and from about 15 years ago. He then formed the company in the Netherlands Antilles, a small island off the coast of Venezuela. You've got Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao. And these are offshore tax-free islands. They're a bit like the Cayman Islands. So he formed the company here, and then he moved it back to Europe, and then that European company bought another company, US, and that US company then got involved with the Dominion voting systems. But the main processing agent was in Barcelona. The servers were in Frankfurt, but it was also being funneled out to Serbia. So the executive order signed in 2008 says foreign interference will be deemed an act of espionage and spying, and it will be considered an act of war. So officially, the US is in a state of war. It has declared cyber war, because of the attacks that it's had on it. But again, you're not going to get any of this information if you're switching on any of the mainstream media. However, saying that, Darren and Miranda, Fox News have made a decisive turn in their reporting topics. They're really talking a lot about Hunter Biden's laptop now, and the fact that his father's flying around on Air Force 2, and meanwhile Hunter's smoking crack. We keep talking about crack pipe this and crack pipe that. I'm actually cracking up when I hear it. And then CNN have started.
Frozen up there, Dave.
A bit of smoke there now for the mainstream. They give us a little bit more power to keep going and to keep fighting. So overall, the whole thing in America, I'm not overly concerned, because I do think he's going to win. And I can feel that, because we've just come so far. And I've always had this thing about, you can try something new in life and business, you keep getting blocked, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not, because you're not supposed to be doing that. I mean, everything that I've been doing, and the people in my group, all the work that we've been doing to get the truth out there, it just feels right. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about is truthful.
Well, I just think we're not, I don't feel that sense of panic. I guess that underlying feeling for me is it's going to be okay. It's almost like this festering wound, it's festering, and it's at its rawest point. So it needs to do what it's got to do in order for the healing to begin. So, why do you...
Saying that would be nice to just rip the Band-Aid off, though, wouldn't it? Let's just get it over with. Right now, I kind of feel like it's being pulled off slowly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hurting, isn't it?
But where do you think, what I'm trying to understand, and I have not tuned into, I will not watch anything on mainstream media, because it's only going to either infuriate me, it's going to trigger me negatively. So why do you think, what place can they take the stand that they have and just project and say that Biden is the winning president of the United States? At what point can they what have they bounced off in order to proclaim that? Is it just
they're basing on what happened in the college when they returned these votes? You see, go back to the night of the election. If you go back to November 4th, where everybody went to sleep thinking, okay, it's done and dusted. Our time, it was our night time, so it would be more daytime. So we all went to sleep here thinking, oh, Trump's winning by miles. And then we woke up in the morning, I was like, how's that possible? So you can see the spikes. So basically, there was that many people voted for Trump, the system couldn't handle it. The Democrats knew. They said, hold on, stop the count. We need to figure out how many more votes we need to drop in there straight away. So that's why you've got these stories of a truck pulling up in the middle of the night with boxes of ballots of votes, suitcases of votes, because they controlled it. So traditionally, what's happened is more or less on the night, you can tell what's going on because people always believe the results that are coming in being fed in from the states all over. And you've got the battleground states, in Arizona, Pennsylvania, New York's another one. So on the night when they saw these spikes, it was all climbing slowly and then it just went boom. Trump saw this, said, hold on, there's something wrong here with that. Let's stop this now because this is getting it. And because all the media is controlled, everybody watches TV, they all get their information from TV, whether it's Sky Australia or Sky Europe. Rupert Murdoch's channels are everywhere, they're just in different badges. You got CNN, you've got RT Russia Today, and then you've got the Al Jazeera. Everybody takes all their information from mainstream media, so if they're all owned by the deep state, that we know they are, they can just put in whatever they want. It's a fixed system. It's actually a genius plan, what they've had. I have to give it to them,
Yeah, because no one controls them.
Yeah, it's been amazingly orchestrated. But one thing they didn't count on is us not being scared anymore, saying, come on then, you know what, let's go, let's have it out. And because what they should have done is shut the media down, the internet, so we can't all talk. They should have put us all into internet blackout and just put the news on. You can do this and limit that because of, whatever, they could have made an excuse. But leaving the internet on was a massive mistake.
And the thing with COVID is it's given people time when they've been stuck at home to research.
Yeah.
It's
Well, yeah, we came up. What was you put a bunch of curious people in a house for weeks on end with the internet connected, they're gonna start digging around.
Yeah, that's
exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Charlie, Liam, myself, and we just got busy with it.
Yeah.
But
did you see today?
The whole orchestrated. The media have done it all, Miranda, and that's why they can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
They're a bit like a bully. It's the biggest person in the schoolyard says, you know what, I'm the best, I'm the fastest, I'm the strongest. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. You know what? Put your money where your mouth is, as they say. On January 6th, we're going to see the truth. And I think they're getting ready for it. I heard some good intel from a recorded speech that a conversation that Biden was having with the Black Lives Matter people, and Biden's just saying, he's not doing anything. So they were saying, if you're about to become president, why are you not doing this, and this? And he more or less said, I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and we're not doing anything. So.
Did you see today, Dave, Putin actually congratulated Biden?
Who? Putin. I heard that. I haven't seen the source, but again,
did he? Or is it being said? Did he?
I don't know. I heard that yesterday. I've got a Swedish friend who's very left-wing, but we're good friends. We just don't talk politics. We had a couple of gin and tonics last night together, and he was laughing, saying, "It's over." So I get it. And I was like, "No, mate," because we got a little private bet cooking.
Yeah.
But he told me that that Putin sent his congratulations, but did he?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to fake things now. You can get a tweet and change it around on Photoshop, and then it just looks right. You retweet it out. It's very easy.
I mean, you only need to.
You know what?
Chinese whispers. All you need to do is just tell one person, and boom, they're all tweeting it. But did it happen?
You pick a homeless guy up off the street, give him a shave, put him in a suit. He looks like a businessman.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Camouflage, disguise, optics is what we call it. It's very easy to confuse people with optics.
Yeah.
So long term, I think we got to wait till January 6th, and then it's a different stage in this fight, because make no mistake, we are at war. I mean, it took nearly 6 years to win World War II.
Yeah.
So realistically, we've only been in this fight since sort of February, March, since the restrictions. So in relative history, it's very small amount of time, but there's been a lot going on. Because of the information that we've shared all around the world between our groups, I think we're very powerful. One thing happened yesterday that was very interesting. There's a series of companies that are online betting, yeah?
Yes.
And all our groups what they're called paddy bets and then Betfair.
Yep.
So what happened? There was this story has exploded, and I'm right in the middle of it because I'm involved. Everybody was betting on Trump to win. So on it was only a 2-horse race, Biden or Trump, and it says who's going to be the next president. So the odds on Biden were very good. They weren't attractive. They're 2-1. But the odds on Trump were extremely interesting. They were 15-1, 19-1. I put 500 pounds on, 500 euros, sorry, when it was very high myself, or in the 30s. It kept changing. So we're all after. Basically, we on my little group, and we told people, say, go on there, stick 100 quid on it for Trump to win. Is at 15-1 was probably the average. But then they froze the accounts and froze the bets, and they called it. They said Trump's going to be the next, is not going to win. Biden's going to be the president. So the whole thing went bananas because the betting, there was $2 billion in just one section of this company. And they called it for Biden. And they said, why do you call it for Biden? And they said, well, because we listened to the electoral votes from the college votes. And they said, Biden's going to be the next president. We said, well, he's not there yet. We closed betting all our money and paid everybody that bet on Biden. So they realized this is the biggest financial mistake that they've probably made, this company. And the people in the group, we got barristers, lawyers, judges. And
it's happened here as well.
New Zealand and Australia, I've seen people on the group.
Sports bet in Australia. We got Trump at 25-1, and it's closed off. I had a look last night. I think I saw your tweet actually regarding Betfair, and I had a look straight away on Sportsbet, and it's closed.
But they're saying that payouts won't take place until inauguration date, the 20th.
But think about it. They've already paid out on Biden because some idiots told them that Biden's going to be president. But they were saying on the statements, but this all ties in about corruption and mainstream media and controlling the narrative and making people believe one thing.
Yeah.
The way this has gone now is they said on November 27th, we announced that we're going to pay out based on what the college vote said there, what happened on 2 days ago. We said, well, hang on. They told you on November the 5th that Biden was going to win based on the amount of college votes and all of this that's been tied in. But you continue taking bets for a further $1 billion up until December 15th. So they actually haven't got a legal leg to stand on. But I think that money is an emergency fund that the deep state and the Democratic Party and all of their players need that money, because worldwide it will be in the billions. I mean, it's $2 billion just in the UK alone.
Yeah.
So it's got to be 20 billion worldwide, probably more.
Yeah.
So if they've manipulated the owners of this betting company to give them that money because they needed to continue the last few desperate fights, that's a great source of funding. So there's something tied into that bet being called way too early. I mean, it's like changing the football to a triangle right at the last 10 minutes of the football game. It's ridiculous. So there's something sinister with that, and it's all still being unfolded, but there's thousands and thousands of people, and they made a massive mistake because they're all digging. All of these people, they're like dopers, and they're digging and digging and digging. So we'll see what happens with that. But
keep us tuned.
They made a decision on the optics about what looked good, and everybody just said, oh, Biden's won. Has he had one? I don't see his hand on the Bible. I don't see him standing in the front steps of the White House.
It would burn. It would burn if he put it on the Bible.
I don't think we'll ever see that, to be honest, Dave.
Yeah, another hypocrisy.
It's funny because worldwide, how we've all linked up between Australia, South Africa, there's a big group going on down there, all over Europe, the USA. The videos that we produced, by the time we got into video 2 and 3, we started doing them in 6, 7 languages. And the information that got out there was very helpful. Then we got them all banned. They were all taken down bit by bit, censorship again. So if you're being censored and they are locking you off, you're on the right track. because they want to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to you'll always find a way around it. If you're smart, we always find a way around it. So that's quite interesting. It doesn't matter what country, they're all following the same narrative.
Yeah.
97% of people, you know, are still believing what they're seeing on television. From a virus,
That's scary, isn't it?
99.5% chance of survival. They're still saying isolate. Now they're talking about the vaccine. You know, why do I need a vaccine if I've got a 99.5% chance of surviving?
Yeah.
Well, see, the interesting thing is that, and that just highlights again, people go to the news for their source of intel and information. What do we need to do now with this virus? Quick, let's turn on the news. What are they telling us now? So they operate like robots based on what they're told. Not their fault, but it's just how we've always
programmed.
Yeah, and so now, for those of us that, and like Laurie Ladd says, you know, there is a huge energetic shift in consciousness, and people like yourself, like us, like, you know, millions of others, we're starting to catch on, and we're all aligning with those like ourselves, because we're all speaking that same narrative. We're asking the same questions, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
That's an interesting. We should go there next, because we talked about the facts and politics and being able to read it, but the spiritual side of this journey as well is a very important side, because it's an armor that we put on to help us get through these things. And the spiritual side, I've been very lucky actually. I wasn't really aware of how spiritual I was until I really started to self-examine things. But I was lucky when my parents raised me. I got an Irish father and an English mother.
Yeah.
And they're both, you know, when a policeman comes up to us, we say, you know, what do you want? We don't say, oh, sorry. You know, he said, well, what are you doing here? We question them. I've been raised in a way to question authority. Because I've always been aware. My father told me something very important. He said, the minute you get arrested, keep your mouth shut, tell them nothing, because they'll twist it around and use it against you. And the first couple of times, you know, messing about, drunk and disorderly as a kid, he was right. You know, they twist things around, you know. So you're raised to believe that the authorities are there to help you, but the reality is they don't give a damn about you.
No.
They see us as a commodity. So being able to question things, and I was raised that way. I was very lucky, you know. Public servants, just because they're in a uniform doesn't mean to say they're good.
No, that's right.
My both told me that.
Yeah.
And then about 12 years ago, probably a bit more now, I met purely by accident in Spain a very famous psychic from Germany. And she left Germany. She used to be on TV there. She left Germany because she was doing the shows, and somebody snuck in on stage and tried to chemically burn her with acid, but she just managed to move it, missed her. So she kind of freaked out, moved to Spain. Yeah. And I met her here, and she woke me up. I mean, I was, you know, raised Catholic, but, you know, I believe in karma, doing the good things, you get it coming back to you. But she kind of tuned everything in. But here's the scary thing. She said there will be a virus that will be released. America will close the doors first, and then Europe will close the doors after this. She told me this in probably 2005, 2006, I'd say.
Interesting.
She told me a lot of it. Yeah. Because I got a bit freaked out. I told my family, my brother, and then by the time we got to 2012, I thought this Mayan calendar was going to be quite an interesting event. So I'd set myself up in Central America and was watching what was going on about this big spiritual change, because I'd spent, she's still friends with me today, this girl. I talked to her a couple of days ago. And she alerted me about meditation and stones and crystals and powers, and how to see and tune in to your intuition. Stop thinking, start feeling. So when I got to Central America, nothing really happened in 2012. I kind of went, that's a bit weird, but it seems to be happening now. I feel it more now, this big spiritual journey that we're all awakening and becoming more self-aware and aware of the people around us. They're having the ability to be tuned into who you are and your surroundings. I mean, you get various different levels. You know, I'm not sitting in a tent playing drums in guitar all day.
Singing Kumbaya.
I'm still very much a full-on, full in your face guy. I like confrontations. It challenges me mentally. I've been driving around without a mask, going from all over the place, waiting for a confrontation with authorities. And I don't know, there seems to be an energy around me. They leave me alone. I was in a gas station 2 days ago with no mask on, and I turned around, there's two cops literally standing next to me. No mask on, no mask up. They looked at me, I looked at them, they looked away. I'm getting, come on. So, sorry guys, I'm kind of rambling here.
That's okay.
No.
The spiritual side is incredibly important.
Very much so.
You can do it at all different levels. Just taking some time and doing something good for the community. This random acts of kindness I like to do, just being nice to strangers. Whether it's commenting on the girl's hair in the supermarket, or allowing someone to just get out in a bit of traffic before you. If you do 2 or 3 things like that a day, it makes this person in a good mood, and it transmits the positivity.
Yeah.
100%.
Negative everywhere. So
Well,
for those listening, it's to do.
It is, and everybody, absolutely everybody is impacted by what's going on in the world right now. Absolutely everybody, whether you're children. Fortunately, in the city that we live in, no children has to wear a mask. In fact, we've never worn masks here. I think with everything that's gone on here in Australia, we've lived in an incredible city to avoid all the mass hysteria. We locked down, I will not wear a mask.
Our actual state went into lockdown, so we could not leave our state. So most of our family are in Sydney and New South Wales. So we've only been down there once this year to see them. So because the borders only just opened up 2 weeks ago, I think, so we can go down for Christmas. But other than that, it's been quite laid back here, really.
Yeah, but everyone's affected, and we all have the capacity to, just extend that olive leaf and like you said, random acts of kindness, and just give people your time, because you don't know who hasn't seen their family in 9 months. You don't know, who hasn't been able to attend the funeral of a family member, or be with a sick family member, or just have anyone around them. Everyone's going through something, and it's just really important that we share the truth, but we share it from a point of truth and compassion as well, because not everyone gets it. And the ones that are freaking out are the ones that are scared, and they're scared because they're confused, because Channel 9 said this. What are you talking about? And for those that thought that we were loonies, they're starting to get it now. I had an interesting conversation today with someone who actually said to me, look, there's a friend of mine who I used to work with, and he's been sharing information with this colleague, and he saw the Charlie Ward interview that we did, and he reached out to me and said, you're talking to Charlie Ward? And I said, yeah. And he said, I honestly thought this was just all hogwash. He said, but the more I look into this, the more it makes sense. And he said, you know what? I drive 4 kilometres to get to and from work. He said, so I don't have all the time to watch the videos that a friend of ours sends him. He said, but he said, I just lost my train of thought. But he said, what I do get to watch, he says, I'm able to join the dots because it's all making sense. So he says, most people like me would get home, turn on the news. That's our funnel of information.
And that's why people are so scared.
More and more people are
doing that. It's an ingenious plan what they've done with the social media and the mainstream media. It's been very good. It's quite a funny story, because some of the messages I get, people really think that, oh my God, I can't believe you've answered me, Mahoney. And I treat everybody the same. If I bumped into someone, I have no ego with this, people watch my stuff all over the world. I don't have it. I've done tons of films and TV stuff. I don't even keep, if I look back over the years and all of the television things I've done, I don't even keep copies of them. It's just fun to do it, and it, you know, I'm not ego driven at all. I like the fun and the crack and the wind ups and the teasing. I like that on the set is good. But you know, so I get messages from people saying, "Oh my God, thank you so much for answering," and they're very humble, like, "Oh, you know, I see you in so many videos." I'm like, relax. But when we started this with Charlie, Charlie's just Charlie, and he's been around. We all know Charlie. So Lee Dawson and myself were training, getting ready to do a picture. Lee's doing a lot of the stunt coordination, the fights. We have an amazing bar fight scene, and I had to drop a load of weight because I've been lazy the last few years, and I said, right, you know, so met Lee. I hadn't seen him for 10 years. Met Lee at a party of a girl who's very awake, Audrey. She's great. "Oh, how are you, mate?" So we got together, started training, and then as this rolled out, I said, "Lee, I have to tell you something. I know what's coming." He said, what are you talking about? So I told him the story about the German psychic, and he freaked out. But then he saw things that I was talking about were coming to pass. And so we got ready, and then again, locking us up, he started digging into the health side of things. Charlie started digging with his information, my military intel, and all the aviation people I know from Central and South America and the US. We kind of put it all together, and then it just flowed out like this, and more and more people started following us. But I took the money that we had in reserve for a film, and we started doing these. You know, we went to England and filmed with the King, with Greg. And
that actually
a great story. That's a great story. So let's do it. You know.
Yeah, that actually leads to the next question, Dave. That's, you know, obviously that's where a lot of people know you from, is you introduced the world to Gregory Hallett, or King John III.
He's done his own thing. What happened? A lot of people ask me, "Hey, I don't see you doing anything with Greg anymore." We did the 3 episodes. We did lots of Zoom calls, but he was never like. He's a great guy, Greg. He's very funny, and you could spend hours and hours of entertainment. But he's so intense that sometimes he used to hypnotize me with it. You know, I'd be like, "What the?" So he was saying, "Listen, Mahoney, you got to get back and do some more filming in high quality." I said, "Greg, it's difficult because I've got to take sound, camera. I've got to take all the crew with us." And I said, "It's 30 grand an episode to do it." And I said, "You know, I've spent of 150,000, you know, probably more now." I said, "I'll do it, but these other guys, they've got, now when we come out of it, they've got to go back to work and earn money because they're doing it for basic salary." And then he went to Scotland. He said, "You got to come to Scotland because we're going to go and look for the Stone of Destiny." This is Jacob's Pillow. Really interesting story. This ancient stone came from the Middle East, came through Spain to Scotland to Ireland, Spain, Ireland, Scotland. And I said, "Well, look, you want to do it at the end of October, November." I said, "It's going to be freezing cold, raining." And I said, "You need ground penetrative radar systems." I've done archaeological digs before, and I've worked with these. I was doing something in Turkey a few years ago, right on the Iraq border. And I know how this ground penetrative radar works. I said, "That's expensive." I said, "You got weather conditions." He says, "Yeah, but I know where it is. I know where it is." I said, "Look, I believe you know where it is, but logic states to me that we're not going to just wander up to look here. You know, there's a lot." And he sent me the areas of the sites that we were going to search and excavate. I said, "Mate, it's the wrong time of year to do it." But he said, no, I've got to do it now. I couldn't get back to the UK. They then locked us into another no-fly zone thing. All flights were gone. And it's 2,500 kilometers from the UK. It's 4 countries or something. So he went off and did it. And then he went into silent mode really while he was doing it. He didn't want anybody to know he's sneaking around in Scotland. Because everything else, I guess, he didn't do any of that, I'm imagining. I wouldn't have done it, so just get up there and do it rather than... You're better off paying the fine for doing something rather than asking to do it in a lot of cases, you know. So then he came back, and now he's doing his own thing. So he says, he's kind of doing something else. I don't know if he's being trained. I don't know if he's preparing it. I've seen that he's launched some more legal documents about Jacob's Pillow, the Stone of Destiny. I just don't know, because he's kind of shut everybody off because he's either getting ready for something or he has these other reasons. So nothing ended badly. It's just, Greg, I can't get back. He says he's moving on in his direction, and I have to move on it in mine. So, you know, we'll probably get back to each other later on. It's just because it's what happens in adult life, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a shame because a lot of people are asking, I want to see him. But the other side of that is he got so beaten up online by trolls and everything that people were doing. I mean, Mike was bad. And Greg's a tough guy. He's very tough. But, you know, some of the personal onslaughts.
We watched all your productions, which were fantastic too. By the way, they're excellent.
I rewatched one the other day. I rewatched the Villa one. I thought, oh, some of those shots are nice because you don't see it for a while and you go back and do it. But it's not all me that does it. It's I have to say, Dave Vickers is amazing. We work together so well. We kind of sync mentally. Like when in Tenerife, we just got out of the car. He went that way. I went, hello, let's go. We did it, you know. Yeah. So Greg, I really don't know what he's doing because for whatever security reasons, he's made decisions. He's not keeping us up to date. And for public record, there was no falling out. I mean, you look at any of the tweets or anything, there's no he's got a monumental task to do. Yeah. He is a little bit nervous about anybody getting close to him. I noticed that he used to, when I'd ask him things, I noticed he had this particular tell. He was playing poker. I'll be able to tell by the way he had his lips. He was you know, he didn't want to discuss it. So I imagine he'd be coming back pretty soon. But if what his plan doesn't come off, he, in my opinion, right now, he did what he was supposed to do. He's exposed the royal family. Yeah. And between the production work we did, the historical research he did is spot on.
He's incredible. He's amazing. His knowledge is just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? He's such a palatable guy to sit next to because there's no, you know, he sits there in his sandals and shorts. He's very difficult keyboard. So yeah, you might watch this. I don't know, but you know, I've only got good things to say about Greg, and I hope he calls me. Because I've stopped texting him now because I feel like I don't want to bother him and push him, you know, like he knows where I am, he'll call me. Yeah. And he actually, in these videos, he negotiated a jacket from me and he still wears my jacket. He took his beige military jacket and he wears it all the time, so I know. He says, oh, I like the jacket. I said, all right, you can have that. So we still have one episode of Ahuna to get out, but there's still a really good interview with Huna Flash. Mayuta Taki. He's an interesting, very interesting guy. If we go back to the spiritual side, this guy. Yeah. When we were in Tenerife, we were being hassled for not wearing masks, and he just kind of sat there and you know, he did some sort of, you know, mumbling spell, and people just, and then we had people come up and say, I know that guy, and he's a guru, he's a spiritual guide, you know. We had a strange experience on the top of Mount TV, where the portal was, because Huna said to me, he said, there'll be 6 important people on that day. There'll be the 3 wise men, there was 9 of them, and the 3 people that represent the old, 3 people represent the new, and the 3 wise men. So I was like, yeah, okay, come on, let's go, man. So we get up there. And as we're doing these ceremonies, he's got a big staff with the dragon on it, and he has a ceremonial gown he puts over the colours of the Lemurian calendar, and he starts doing his Lemurian, you know, he starts doing, there's these 3 kids from England, they look like total scallies, you know.
Yeah.
One of them said, oh, what he's doing, he's a spiritual guru, he's doing a ceremony. And I looked at him and thought, you know, you look like you're about to steal my car.
Yeah, right.
So these are the 3 wise men, these 3 kids who look like proper, I just all knew what he was doing, acknowledged it and respected it and backed off, you know? And then there was another guy pop around, he gave me a look, he didn't give me a very nice look, he had a really happy, chirpy wife and a teenage son around 15 that were talking loudly, and then they came around the corner and they saw this weird situation where everyone's, you know, in some sort of ceremony. He looked at me and I looked at him, And I knew he was South American straight away, and I said, "Are you Colombian?" And he said, he didn't want to answer me. He said, "Yeah, how did you know?" They all have that look. Colombians that live, he told me he lived in England. And I said, "How's your English?" He said, "Terrible." And then I talked to his 15-year-old son, who apparently been living in England. He didn't speak in English, so I knew they were lying. But he gave me that look where it's like, you know, they don't open their mouths when they talk. Basically, big-time narco, hiding out in Europe, was trying to have a conversation with me, but didn't want to give any intel away. So he represents the old. Who's that?
Ah.
Who is? I know. I was just supposed to be. No, I'm just on the Skype call. And then the next three, so they represented the old, and then the other three were three young French girls, about 15, 16, 17, really sweet and innocent and nice and enjoying a beautiful day with amazing views, speaking French, all just shining with hope and possibility of the future. You know, these are the three people that represent the future. Three pure, innocent girls that are just starting their lives off and just with open wonder and have no idea about the sinister side. Or just, they're probably 15 or 16. You know, young girls look older now. As you get older, they 14 look 20, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So he was right. He was right. He was spot on about this, and he wasn't fazed by it. He continued doing it, and we put some of that in that episode. But we have another half an hour conversation where we're just sitting on a boat talking. And Dave's going to do some editing on that now. We'll get that out this week. So Huna's back in Mexico.
What an incredible year, Dave. Imagine if somebody said to you last year, next year you're going to be doing a production with the King of England, King John III.
Yeah, I keep saying 2020, at least it didn't get weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I guess
next year, let me finish off 1 second before I forget, because in February, it's on the spiritual side of things as well, because the spiritual side ties into everything else. I always say it gives you the armor to carry on. So Huna's invited Dave Vickers, our camera guy, myself, to go to Peru at the end of February, where he's got a very large group going to Machu Picchu, which I've never been to. I've been saving that for a special occasion, which seems to be next year. He's taking a group down there. They're doing a ceremony. It ties in with some sort of Lemurian calendar event. So if anybody's watching, they want to join us in Peru for about another place not a lot of people have heard of. It's in Bolivia, and it's called Pumapunca, and it's on the high plains of Bolivia, which is an ancient city that they have these extremely important stone blocks that are in the shape of H's, immaculately carved. I mean, in better condition than the Philippines. So we're going to go down there and film this 10-day trip between Machu Picchu, traveling through Central America, going up to Bolivia. He's opening and stabilizing several portals on that particular trip.
Wow.
So if people want to join, they could probably find out. You can find out in the House of Huna.
House of Luna, is it?
Say again?
How do people find out about that? Where would they go to?
The House of Huna, it's called, the website, or they can find me on social media, or you could look at Huna Flash. I haven't got the itinerary yet, but he's asked us to go, and I said, that sounds something I can't say no to, because
sounds amazing.
It'll be a good experience, guys. So if you want to come, if you can get yourself away from Australia.
If we can ever leave Australia.
If we can leave Australia,
Come back.
We might come back, eh?
I've got a nephew who lives in Sydney, and he's opened his own brewery down there.
Really? Whereabouts?
He's doing very well. You're in Sydney. It's called the Wanderer, and I don't know what part of Sydney. I've never been to Australia.
Okay.
But he's Matthew is my nephew. He's been there quite a few years. Loves Australia. Doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
We'll look him up. We're going down to Sydney next week. So.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't know what area. Apparently, it must be quite a good area. But yeah, Matthew is his name, and the bar is called the Wanderer, and he makes his own beer. He took the recipe. He was raised in Wales, And if you go and see him, he'll tell you some funny stories about when we all lived in Chicago.
Okay, we will. Expect some we'll take some photos too when we're there.
Yeah, go see him.
We'll surprise you.
Oh,
Yeah.
and my niece is there as well. My sister, both my sister's kids, they work in the same. They got a business, I think, Roisin, but they're hilarious. So you'll be well welcomed if you say, look, yeah, Mahoney sent me. They'll say, oh.
The apples don't fall far from the tree.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight, or this morning for you and tonight for us, Dave. And you know,
Yeah, thanks for sharing. It's always it's you know, not everyone knows what we know. Everyone knows something different, and we're all at different levels of learning. So, I guess if we can
you just got to keep digging.
Yeah.
You know, you'll feel. Stop thinking about the answers and just feel them. You'll feel your way around. Imagine you're in the dark, but I would definitely encourage everybody to pursue this inner peace that you can find, because when everybody else is in turmoil and angry and confused, I could sit down now and take a siesta. I'm very relaxed, and it's not financially driven, because money is an energy, and you know, people always say, "Oh, it's all right for you." You know, that's not like a woman sent me a message. "You're all right for you. You're sitting in your chairs looking over the Mediterranean." I'm like, well, you know, I don't get home till most of the time after dark. But if you've got questions, if people email you questions, guys, we can do this every couple of weeks if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
we'll put it out there. So
Awesome.
I'm very open to that. You know, I know you've got a lot of people following you, and you're doing a good job devoting your time to educating and helping people and supporting them emotionally and spiritually. Waking them up is a very, very noble task, and it's a very noble cause. So I'm always admirable to people that can continue doing this sort of work. So good on you guys. Good on you.
Oh,
Thanks,
mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Dave.
We'll catch up again soon. Yeah.
Appreciate your time, mate.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to hit me up on the social media, and I'll do my best to answer. No promises, but I do look at them every day. But there's a lot of them. So, but you know, I do answer. You'll be surprised. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, Miranda.